right, guys, before we get into our top three, I wanted to give a little intro about who we are, and that way you get to know us a little bit better. And I'm going to start with my wife, Mollee. What made you fall in love with Disney World or Disney in general?
What made me fall in love with Disney? I guess, so a little background, grew up with my sister, Shae, going to Disney almost every year. Really, when I think about it, like, so we have another sister, Leah. She has special needs. In our first trip to Disney, we were sent with Make-A-Wish. Granted, I was 5 at the time. No, I was 7 at the time. Leah was 5. But it's just kind of thinking of that trip and how magical, not just how magical, but how the magic was introduced to us at that time. And every time we went there, it was just,
this is a different feeling, I think.
yeah, it's
just kind of,
get it. Like,
it's different. It's not the same as going to like a theme park or going to like any other theme park, like Six Flags or whatever, but it's just a different experience. I think that's what kind of where you're coming from, at least.
Yeah. I mean, it was just taken out of our situation at home, which was a little harder, and then into a place where there was magic.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Bill, what about you, my friend?
So obviously I married my wife into this love for Disney. I went twice as a kid. I can tell you I've been, I think, like 1,000 times since. What I will tell you is somebody that comes from that environment of entertainment, as I'm the director of operations for Topgolf here in San Antonio, I have such an appreciation for the level of detail and the work that they do. And so every time I go, it never stops amazing me about the things that they do and how flawless it is. And it's without effort. So outside of the love that I have for the magic of Disney, the precision that they do their job, to me, it's overwhelming. So, I mean, they are the industry standard. Everybody looks at them to set the benchmark. And even in my own world, we look to them the same way. So from my standpoint, yes, it's definitely, I love looking at my kids in the eyes when they have a great time and they make it magical for them. For my chair, it's also too about an appreciation for the ability to have that standard and perform that standard every day in and day out. So that's what I would say about my passion for Disney.
Sweet.
Well, so I grew up with Mollee going to Disney World every year. And it's a happy place. Like, it just kind of takes you back, and it's a place that you can go, and you might get hot and tired and cranky, but at the end of the day, you kind of can forget about the rest of the world. And the same thing with Bill, I was an event planner and a project manager. And so going and seeing how they do things and how they think outside the box and how they make everything so precise. And so they just do it so well. As an adult, it's so cool to go see and be able to appreciate all of the work now that you understand how hard it is to make a ride look like it does. When you're a kid, it's just magical and, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And then you get to be an adult and you're like, holy cow, like, how did they do that? Like, what were the logistics behind it? I think that's so cool. And then being able to take my kids and kind of see through their eyes what this all looks like and get them interested in different things and have them ask questions about, countries and how different things work, is just so cool. Oh, is that an airplane? Yeah, that's an airplane. Sorry.
Squirrel.
It might as well have been a squirrel.
So, yeah. So it's just a happy place, and I just love it. It just makes me happy.
All right, for me, I went to Disney World once when I was about, I think, 11 or 12 with my family, and I had a blast. Like, it was different from, I grew up in an East Texas small town, so it was definitely cool. It was a lot of fun. We went to, I think we almost went to all the parks they had at that time. It was probably early 90s or so. And so we had a blast. And then the next time I went was when we went for your 21st birthday. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like reignited something in me, I guess, because like it was just really cool to see it more. I was 21. I was already 21 years old. So I was able to see it from this new perspective. Now, I wasn't a kid anymore, but there's still something about it. It kind of still took you to this other place, this other world. It didn't feel like going to Six Flags or to SeaWorld or something like that. It felt different. And so from there, I just kind of had this appreciation for all the detail, like the way the cast members like interacted with you, just that level up that they had that all the other places didn't. So like from there, like we got back and I started reading books about like Imagineering and all this other stuff, which just got me more into it, just knowing all the detail that these people have whenever they're going to do their jobs every day at Disney World. So that's more of my angle on it, is that's why I love Disney World. I have different angles just depending on who I go with. So like when my kids go, it's cool to see them, just this magic that's there with the characters and going to the shops, and spending a lot of money, but it's just, they see these things and it's just magic to them. So like that's a different angle that I have, a different lens that I put on whenever I go with my kids, but I still enjoy it whenever I go, just to kind of see that level of detail that they put in there, especially with all the changes that they're doing now with like Epcot and stuff like that. So that's my big, like, just love of Disney. That's why I love Disney so much, just because it just seems to always be evolving, always changing. It doesn't stay the same. Like you can go year after year and there's always something that's just a little bit different, but that the thing that's always the same most of the time is that just that level of excellence that they kind of have up here. So that's my main love of Disney, is just that. So with you guys all getting to introducing ourselves to you, you know a little bit about us now. So we're going to go and get into our top 3 attractions that we love at the Magic Kingdom Park. So we're going to go and start with you, babe.
All right.
Go for it.
Okay, we're going to start with our number 3 attraction. So I'm not going to lie, y'all. This was really hard for me to narrow it down to 3 attractions. Yeah, so I had to think long and hard about this. But with that being said, just know I thought about this. My number 3 is Splash Mountain. I like Splash Mountain. I love first off, it's a long ride. So you wait in a long, you're waiting in a long line. You want to expect a long ride. So it's nice. It has the animatronics, I love the song. The animatronics are cute as can be. And then it has that thrill aspect to it that we love in our family.
Most of us.
But most of us. Well, but everybody wrote it.
That's true. They all did.
Just Emma was too little. But everybody, all 3 or the 3 older kids love it.
And even the one that's not as crazy about thrill rides, like that's one of his favorites.
Yes.
So it does something.
Yeah. And then I think my favorite thing was this last trip we went on. We didn't get a fast pass for it that first day, and we were with our cousins, and their little girl wanted to ride it. So we stayed, and we got in line during right before fireworks started. And so we were on the ride as fireworks were going off. So like just to see, like you go down the big drop and the fireworks are going off. Yeah. It was awesome. So
magical.
That's my number 3. All right, Bill, what about you?
So, but before we even get started on me, I just want to say this. That is such a secret that you just shared with everybody.
Yeah.
So if you are not a person, once you've seen the stuff that goes on in the castle or in the front of the park, if you
as far
want
as the fireworks go.
Fireworks, right.
The nighttime shows.
So the nighttime shows, if you want to ride rides, that is the absolute best time to ride rides, because everybody else is in the front of the park.
Yeah.
And you can ride them over and over and over again. So shout out to you for giving a little secret there, because I firmly believe, and again, I've seen everything on the castles in every park a bunch of times.
Definitely a must do.
It is.
But then do it and then take advantage of not.
Right. Take advantage of the line. So, all right. So my 3rd place winner at Magic Kingdom, and kind of like you, it was tough. But Buzz Lightyear, I'm competitive as all get out.
That is good.
I love riding with my boys and shooting all the stuff that goes down. I've seen it from, I guess, all stances. I mean, they upgraded it a couple years back, and it's even better. So if you've got a chance to ride Buzz Lightyear, I highly recommend it. That's my pick. Shae?
He always kicks my butt.
There's something there.
So my number 3 this was pretty hard, and I just have to say that we and our kids are included in this are not a roller coaster family, really, like at all, pretty much. Our youngest does; he's kind of likes them a little bit, but then he kind of doesn't. So our account might look a little bit different than Mollee and David's. So my number 3, and it's almost purely sentimental reasons and like the history of Disney World and all of that, is Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. I love it's relaxing, it's cool, you get to sit down, there's never a wait, but it's also something that Walt Disney himself actually like put his hands on and put his imagination into, and it's just part of Disney history. And so it's one of those things that at least once on every trip I like to just go see it and say hi to the little dog, and it's just nice. I like Carousel of Progress and the history that comes. I am ready for them to update that last scene. I think that'll be it's about time. But I do like that it is part of Disney history and something that Walt himself.
Yeah, it was in the World Fair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where it started.
So the thing I'd say about that is if you ever need a break as a family, it's the perfect spot.
Yeah.
It gets you some air condition. It gets you some rest. And it's a quality entertainment. So, yeah. Absolutely.
That's a good one.
Totally.
Hey, what do you got?
All right.
My number 3 is, and it's funny because I did not know your number 3, but it is Splash Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, Splash Mountain is my number 3. And it's I don't even remember the fireworks and going over the hill and stuff like that, but I've just always enjoyed that ride. I think I like how it kind of tells a story.
Yes.
That's a big part of me, that there's a story in it. So it's not just a ride. Like you're actually experiencing this story from the very beginning to this very end, and you go off the drop, and that's kind of like how it's almost to the end. You get to the bottom, and then you actually do make it. You're not going to get hurt or anything like that. Like our kids probably thought they were going to die or something, but there's a story to it.
Die when I wrote it.
Yeah.
Well, and with that, like the drop is not the end of the story. So, like you said, it's kind of cool that it still continues on for quite a bit after the drop. So,
yeah. There's a little bit of a story at the end too. So, and I just like stories, and so I think that's one of my big reasons why I like this ride. It could almost be my number 1, but I have a better number 1. But yeah, for number 3, Splash Mountain, it's fun. There's a story to it. There's thrill, and most of the time we can get our kids on it, so we can all get on that ride together instead of someone waiting behind. So they all enjoy it. You can go daylight, you can go nighttime, and they're kind of different experiences. So like I love doing that. I love doing all different rides, especially when you have an outdoor aspect to it. And you can experience it during the day and experience it during nighttime, and it's kind of different experiences depending on when you do it. So
that's true.
That is my number 3. And with that, we're now at number 2.
All right.
What is it, babe?
My number 2, like I said, y'all, this was tough, and
Don't look at mine.
I'm not looking at yours.
I just want to know.
I chose People Mover as my number 2.
Oh.
Yeah. So this one, the older I get, the more I've enjoyed it. But it's kind of one, you just go, you sit on a little tram, and it takes you around Tomorrowland. You get a good view of the castle. You get a good view, like right now you can get a view of the Tron construction, which I think is exciting to all of us. It's relaxing. It's again a longer ride than some of the others, and so you sit there and you feel like you're getting a good
break almost.
Yeah, a good break. But one thing that I really like, so part of it, you go through, like you can see the Buzz Lightyear ride in it, and then you can see Space Mountain, and if you're lucky enough at the right time, you can see Space Mountain with its lights on.
That happens.
That's happened to us a few times. And that is amazing. I don't know, like seeing those tracks and how it is, because when you ride Space Mountain, you don't feel like it's like that, and then you look and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's just a big roller coaster. You don't feel
I
like
like that you can also see the plans for like Walt Disney's plans for Epcot too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they've got what is that called? The little miniature like layout.
Model?
Model. The model of Epcot in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's another one all the kids can get on. They all like it.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody gets bored of it or anything, but it's one, and it's just,
It's almost like that backlot tour, but without the person telling you about the stuff, because you do get to experience a bunch of different parts of Disney World, even if you're just going to see the models and stuff, it's just kind of cool to
Mhm.
see that. But then when you do get to see like Tron, and you're like, oh, that's cool. You know, no one's telling you about it, but you can see these things that are going on
Yeah.
because you're up from this higher elevation and stuff like that. So yeah,
And the backlot tour Dave is talking about is no longer.
yeah, that
It's
would have
like
been one
taking
of
it
my
back.
favorites.
Yeah, it was.
It's also really good people watching. So if you like to people watch, which is kind of fun,
Yeah.
it's exciting.
All the dancers down at the little dance party down there. It's the Incredibles
So-
right now.
Yeah. So that was my number 2, people mover. All right, Bill.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is she kind of just spoke my language. Number 2 is the people mover.
Yeah. There you go.
True story. So I guess outside of what she just said, I think it's like the consummate break for a family. There's always so much going on, especially in Tomorrowland, that there's waits and there's lines, and the people mover to me is like the ultimate like reset.
Yeah.
Like you have time to just go sit, and it's cool. It's refreshing. You see a ton of the land, and there's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the things I really love about the people mover is you can kind of remove yourself for a minute. Even though you wait in the little jaggedy line for it. I love that about it. And it's relaxing. It's something that's educational. It's something that takes you through a bunch of different places. So yeah, I mean, second, you said it very well the first time, but that was my second one. So
Good
I'll
job.
turn it over to you, Shae.
Cool. My number 2 is Mickey's Philharmagic in Fantasyland. It's a 3D show, kind of based on Fantasia, and it's got all the classic characters in it, and it's just exciting, and it runs you through, a lot of the movies, The Little Mermaid and Aladdin and The Lion King, and has all of those characters in it. But it's what I think is the coolest about it. It's almost like a full sensory experience. They've got the smells, and you've got the 3D glasses on, and it's some really good 3D. I mean, like you feel like there's stuff right here in front of your face. The flute is like, grab it. And I think they have bubbles that come down, and there's wind that rushes out at you. So you really feel like you're in this movie. And I mean, there's one part, I think it's the Be Our Guest part. And there's a smell like this, like cherry pie or something. And whenever I think about this ride, I like can almost smell that smell. And I like just evokes like good memories. It's another one that there's typically you don't need a fast pass for it. You can just about always get on, and it's a huge theater. So it's like, if you don't get in right away, then you usually just have to wait for one show, and then you can get in. Another chance to cool down and sit down and just enjoy being entertained for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worst I've ever waited there is like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like one show.
Yeah.
Without a fast pass. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's a good one. So that's my number 2.
Good job.
All right. So my number 2, numero dos, is Haunted Mansion. I was like, wait, that's at Magic Kingdom, right? Okay, I'm just making sure. I was like, wait, am I wrong? No, Haunted Mansion, number 2, almost number 1. But Haunted Mansion, like, that goes way back for me when I was a kid. I remember going to Haunted Mansion and loving it and thinking that it was spooky. And, this is when I was 11 years old. I'm like, oh, this looks like real ghosts. So it's just a fun ride. Like, I love, and then after finding out, like, the science behind it,
the ghosts aren't real.
Yeah, it ruined it for me. No, whenever I found out, like, how they actually did the science behind it, it made it that much cooler for me. So, it's also nice and cool. So when we usually go during the summer, it's really hot, and the Haunted Mansion's always just nice and cold whenever we go in there. There's one time that we went, and our youngest son knocked out like during the ride. We thought he was going to be scared, and when we finished the ride, like, he's knocked out next to me. So I mean, like, it's a good ride just to kind of veg out, chill out, and cool down in a way. But it's really fun too. It's just a lot of fun. I like the thing, you're looking for all the different things that move, and you're trying to figure it out. Like, I mean, I still try to figure some stuff out as we're going through that ride, trying to figure like, how do they do that again? Like, this looks new or something like that. So that's my number 2. It's old. It's an old ride, but it's still like, I don't know. There's just something about those classic rides that just really like I love about it. Maybe I'm nostalgic, or maybe it's just because it's something that has like kind of like stood the test of time, you know? So I think that started back in the 70s or something like that, I want to say.
It was an original ride at Disneyland.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then they used a lot of the stuff they use at Disneyland for that in Disney World. So yeah, I mean, it's an older ride, but there's so much that kind of just, it still stays relevant somehow. So that's my number 2. Now we go to number one. Number 1 for us.
All right.
So what is yours?
My number
Mollee?
1. This is the ride that I get on and I'm like, all right, I'm at Disney. Like, I feel like after I've ridden this ride, I'm at Disney World, and it's actually Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
And we didn't talk about this.
No, we
so
didn't. Yeah.
Haunted Mansion, I think it's because it's been there. It hasn't really changed much. There's little changes to it, but I remember riding it when I was younger, being terrified. And then now, like, older, and something you ride every time. I take my kids on it, and it's fun to watch them be like scared but not scared, and just grown to love it. One time when Jaden was 3, we went and he did not want to ride Haunted Mansion.
Screamed his
He
head
didn't
off.
like it. He didn't want to, and so we just kind of got in line and didn't tell him what ride we were getting on. And just go in thinking we'll just get on.
How did he not know? It's like,
well, you did. We just kind
He
of.
was 3. He didn't know what the ride was.
And I was like,
was I with y'all? I think I was with you.
You were with us. So we just walked in, and you go in the cute
atrium area.
area, and we were good. He was fine, though. And then they say at the end, "Welcome to the Haunted Mansion," and he's like,
yeah. Couldn't tell if it was hanging or him screaming.
He's one that, like, he has to see things and know. So we walked him, and I said, "Just watch and look." And so he goes and he sees it's just little buggy to ride in, and so he gave it a shot and he loved it.
Yeah.
But it's just little things like that.
And then we didn't feel like horrible parents afterwards. So all right, cool, we're good.
I knew he would like it. I knew he wouldn't be scared of it.
Yeah. And he still loves that ride.
Yeah, he still does.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a classic. It when I think Disney, that's one of the rides that I'm like,
like we have to do.
Gotta do.
Yeah.
So number 1, Haunted Mansion. All right, Bill, it's on you, bud.
All right, so my number 1 attraction in Magic Kingdom has got to be Pirates of the Caribbean. I absolutely love that ride. I love it for a lot of reasons. There's a couple surprises, and if you haven't been on it, I'll let you figure those out for yourself. But my other thing that I absolutely love about it is it's not uncommon. Probably more common in Disneyland than it is in Disney World. But for Johnny Depp to come sit in the chair towards the end, with the gold pieces,
we've never seen that.
I have not,
but we've seen videos of it. It's happened.
I've seen videos, so it's not terribly uncommon for that to happen. The ride's fantastic. It's cooling, so if you're out in the middle of the day, right, and things are hot and things are going crazy, and you need some spot to cool off in, dude, not only is it a great ride, but it does do that for you as well. And everything around it in that area is actually phenomenal. There's so many people in character in that spot. So I would definitely suggest going to that area. So that's my take on my number 1.
It's a good one.
All right, sorry, Shae and Bill had to step out. They had something to attend to, so we're gonna have to ask Shae what her number 1 attraction is next time. But I'm gonna go and tell you guys my number 1. Can you guess what it is?
I can guess, but mainly because I looked at your list.
What? Cheater.
Just a little bit ago, not when I made mine.
But did you think? Were you surprised?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I figured it would be your number 1.
So my number 1 is actually Bill's number 1. Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean.
I say Caribbean.
I say Caribbean too, which I don't know. The movie, do we say Pirates of the Caribbean?
I say Pirates of the Caribbean.
What? I've heard.
But I don't know.
I've heard both. Yeah, I've heard both.
That's right.
But yeah, anyways, that is my number 1 favorite ride. The ride goes way back. I remember going to Disneyland in California with my grandparents, and I think I was about maybe 6 or 7. And I remember the ride there, and I loved it, and it was amazing. And this was pre, Johnny Depp and everything too, Jack Sparrow, none of that stuff. And I remember that little bitty drop, which back then felt like a big drop, but like now it's just like Bill was saying, it's part of the whole experience when you're in that area too. There's like a lot of the theming, so it's not just the ride, it's not just like the cue to the ride, which it is themed amazing. Like you feel like you're going to this like tavern, but even the area around that, it feels like you're in that area, like you're in areas where pirates are and stuff like that. And like Bill was saying too, like it is a nice cold ride. I think there's a theme to the rides that I like, the attractions that I ride, because like there's Haunted Mansion, even Splash Mountain. Like it gets a little cool in there too. Like you get down into the ride, it gets a little cool in there. But like beyond that it's comfortable and that it takes me back. Like I just like the ride. I think it's fun. I feel like it's and again, like Disney is the master at storytelling, and it's just one of those rides that goes way back, and it has that experience of a story that's being told. And they've changed it. They've changed it a lot, which is totally cool. But it's kind of kept with. It's still kept relevant. Yeah, integrity. Exactly. That's the word I'm looking for. But that's my number one ride. Just a great ride. I think that will always be my number one ride. Quick backstory on that ride too. Last time we went, I did not get to ride the ride. Like that's the only ride that I want to ride. If I don't get to ride anything else, I want to get on Pirates of the Caribbean. And we didn't get to do it last time because our youngest son, Liam, how old was he at that time?
Well, he's not the youngest, but
he's our youngest son.
Youngest son.
Yeah, youngest son. So youngest son.
I stayed. We had fast passes, but our youngest, his daughter Emma, was one.
Yeah, she was one.
And she was asleep in the stroller, so she couldn't ride. So I stayed back.
Forfeited your ride.
Forfeited my ride. Stayed back so Dave could ride it, knowing it's his favorite.
Well, last name Shores. I mean.
So he gets in line with the other three.
Yeah.
And I'm just walking around the shop, not knowing what's going on, waiting for him.
Liam's about 5.
Yeah,
about 5.
About 5.
So Liam had been having stomach issues that day. That's probably enough for you to know right there. He was okay for most of the day, and so we get in line for the ride, and he's like, I mean, we were almost to the front. Like we are maybe like 2 sets of people left before we get to the front of the ride. I mean the front where the queue's going to load us up. And he's like, Dad, my stomach hurts. I'm like, are you sure? like,
for real?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, it hurts. I need to go to the restroom right now. I'm like, okay. So as a good parent, trying to be a good parent, like my other 2 kids, I'm like, do y'all want to ride this? And they're like, yeah. So I let them stay in the queue. They were, how old was Jaden? About 10? I think he's about 10.
What?
Yeah, he's 13 now, so he's around 10 years old. So like 10 and 8. And Molly's waiting at the end of the ride, so I knew that she'd be able to catch them when they were done. So I told him, like, hey, as soon as you're done, your mom's going to be right there. Look out for her. So I ended up going back, and there's no way to exit Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, you can't, they weren't going to let us go through the ride to exit. So we actually had to go back against all the people that were in line,
I'm sure there was a way if you asked a cast member, hey, there's
always
a chicken exit.
There was like 2 people, like we just, I was like, let's just go back. So, and I knew where the restrooms were. I said, going back there too. So we went back, we went through all this row of people, went to the restroom, and we didn't get to do that ride at all that year, on that trip, not that year. But that trip.
And I can't remember why you didn't get back in line. Did we have something we have to be at?
I think we had something. I think we did have something, another fast pass or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I think that was the one year I did not get to do the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I got to do most. I got to do the queue at least, so I got to have a little experience there. But yeah, that's my favorite ride. Next time we go back, I'm definitely going to get on Pirates of the Caribbean. That's probably going to be the first thing we do, just to make sure that we do it. Give her own Pepto-Bismol and get on that ride. So. But anyways, that's my number one. Again, sorry guys that Shae did not get to show her, or get to tell you guys her number one, but we will ask her next time we have our quarantine catch up. Hey guys, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties and that video just cut off. But we were at the end of the video, so I just wanted to ask you guys, what are your comments? What are your top 3 favorite attractions that you enjoy? So hit us up in the comments below, and on our next video we'll have a little bit better technical prowess on that. So anyways, hit us up in the comments and go ahead and subscribe to this video if you liked it, and follow us. We have our social media tags down below: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and our web address, dreamittravelcompany.com. So hit us up, and thanks for watching. Bye.